this computer. Cool. Welcome to the Dice Are Bad Storytellers. I'm your DM for tonight, Jacom Clarkson. This is session 6 of Ojoysa. I'm joined by Phil Mathis playing Jace Argin, Addison Radle playing Sir Emory, Dowis playing Qiao, Daniel playing Corvus, and Lyre playing Addie. And we have just finished...
Okay.
Who is who? Addie playing Lyre.
Inception?
Okay. I have a friend up here in Seattle whose name is Alexis, and I've called her Emmy, who's her D&D character in our game, more than I've called her Alexis. I accidentally call her all the time. Okay, so last session we had this fight with the dragon. It ended successfully. There was one casualty, Miss Lauren Aldeath, or what her name would have been before she died a second time. Died twice in one day. Not many can say that. The dragon's head was cut off. It was sealed within the tomb of Jace Argin, kept it preserved, and seems to keep it animated or suspended. Yeah, I agree. And so after this has happened, everyone returned to the ship, nursed their wounds. Atria played some harmonica, and Sir Emory discovered some golden hair on her chin, and Jace had a fitful dream. Waking up this next day, what would people like to do? Or everybody will get a long rest, unless they would like to do something in the night that would disrupt that substantially. But if you want to do something early in the morning after you've gotten some rest, that works as well.
I immediately take to the deck and start working out. Just 200 push-ups.
Giant muscly arms. What are you doing, Alex?
I do have what we previously discussed.
Yes, of course. So what time do you do that? Late at night?
Yeah, I'm thinking late at night was the best time to do that.
Okay. So you'll just have to beat everyone's passive perceptions. I have that pulled up. But
I'm going to cast invisibility on myself.
Okay.
Actually, so we have not gotten... Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a short rest. I'm going to take a short rest so that I can regain a 5th level spell slot.
Awesome.
I'm going to do that, and then I am going to cast regular invisibility on myself and go.
Okay, regular invisibility on myself and go. I'm gonna say yes. You can do that for free. You're all in your bed. You're all nursing your wounds. No one has any reason to doubt themselves. Corvus, I'm gonna say Corvus has been guarding you, and that's kind of his purpose in life. I'll let you roll a luck check. We'll say on a 19 or a 20, you can detect him gone, but you will know he's gone as soon as he's not in his room.
You kidding me?
What'd you get?
18.
Wow. You fail to see him disappear, but you do notice when he's gone. But yeah, you sneak stealthily off the ship in the middle of the night. Nature is gorgeous. This place is pristine. You can see gold buried in the soil glinting up at you as you walk across the land. Where is Qiao going?
All right, let me see if I added the things that I was going to add. Okay, Qiao is going to make his way to the dragon's body that is still alive.
Yes. You walk across the Temple of Torin, and you come to this big lump of purple flesh, well, blue flesh.
All right, I am going to spend some time trying to... if I can permanently kill this thing.
Okay.
And I want to specifically focus on what is making it undead.
Right, okay. So, I'm going to say you have very attuned arcane senses. You're a very, very smart person. Roll me an Arcana check, and you can do this with advantage. And then describe some of the things you're doing to test this body, to test how this flesh works.
Okay.
And do a perception check as well as you're doing that Arcana check.
Okay. Let me pull up my skills. All right, so it's a really good Arcana check. It's a 27.
27, wow.
Yeah, I have +9 now, so, you know. And then it's a really good perception check. It's a 23. And I'm not using the other dice app. I'm using the D&D Beyond one.
Nice. Hey, not sponsored by D&D Beyond.
Nope.
So,
although if they want to, I mean,
hey, you want to get my one view on YouTube per week, feel free. So, with that 23 perception, we'll start there. You notice that the body, because that's a very high perception, has moved about a centimeter toward the Temple of Torin. And the body is not a body. It's been hacked to pieces. There are lumps of it in parts like wings scattered here and there. Jace made very clear work to make this as dead as possible.
We tossed some in the lake.
Yeah, he's tossed some of it lake. There are pieces missing. The flesh seems to be trying to come back together, but incredibly slowly. If this wasn't an over 20 perception check, you would have noticed no difference whatsoever. But you can see points where it's trying to like heal toward itself and extremely, extremely slowly. Now, with your Arcana check, or do you have any insights on that? What else do you want to test on that?
Okay. Assuming I notice the movement first, I want to see if there's any pieces that I don't think have moved, that everything else is trying to coalesce around, as opposed to, like, have they all moved in one direction, or are they
have
just
all moved in one direction?
Toward the head?
Yes, toward the head and slowly sort of melding toward itself. Kind of like, kind of trying to knit its own wounds as well.
Okay. I am going to do everything I can short of going to get the head, because I'm not confident that I can redo what Sir Emory did.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can get to that 27 Arcana whenever you like. Just let me know what you want to do.
I'm definitely going to take some blood.
Okay.
And I'm going to take some blood, and I'm going to, I'll hold on to it. Actually, I don't, because I'm not sure if it can track where we are based on the blood, so I won't do that. But what I will do is I'm going to
maybe
just
let
go
me
ahead
get to
and do
the Let me go to the Arcana. This thing is not undead in the sense of magic is not sustaining this thing to oppose being death. From a magical perspective, this thing never died. This thing, even though its head was cut off, even though all these things, this thing has never ceased to be alive. And from what you can tell, ever ceased to be alive. I mean, from just, and then again, this is all, you've never, the only thing you felt this way around were the gods that you were with in Pith's castle forever ago. This thing isn't undead, it's beyond death. It's undying.
This feels like it's displaced from normal rules of reality. And
yeah, normal rules of reality that you're familiar with. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to. I take out one of the knives, and I'm gonna stab it with the knife. I stab a piece with the knife. What happens?
Yeah, you see all of the pieces, regardless of where they are, kind of each tense. All the muscles tense and don't move. They stop moving entirely.
I'm gonna try and discover, and basically, in an arcane sense, and I want to see if I can tell what's changed with the knife. Like, is it that the knife is piercing into the other plane, or is it that you know what's happening that's changing the rules? Because this thing doesn't seem to be affected by our rules.
Right. I'm going to say these knives have been incredibly frustrating from day one that you've received them. They're magically inert in a way that makes no sense. They don't have, they're in this plane, but also the magical plane. They don't seem to have any magical effect outside of being basically indestructible. They seem to be completely resistant to all forms of damage. And whenever you've stabbed any living creature that you've ever come across with these daggers, there's been no magical effect that you can tell whatsoever. The only time you've ever seen it affect anyone was the goddess Pith and this dragon now, and both the same effect of seizing up. What you can tell from that is whatever is causing this creature to be undying is making it eligible for this magical effect that the daggers have been designed to create on the undying creature.
Okay. I am going to reach out and touch the dragon, and I'm going to cast Legend Lore on Usadine. And I'm going to try to understand. I'm specifically focusing on the event that, if I can, that would have led to its immortality.
Oh, this is dope. Okay. I can't sit down and write it like poetry, which is what I like to do for Legend Lore. So I'll try and just make it as flowery as I can. Usadine the Blue, first of dragons true. This dragon born of Aurelian and Tauren destroyed the land and ate the skies until it accumulated power unto which it could overcome death. Restrained and captured by Jace Argin, and again twice by Jace Argin. Scourge of the Cradle of Aurelian, and Mad Dragon of its deceased brothers.
Okay, so it's the first dragon, possibly. And it is, or first among dragons.
Yeah, and I know it's hard to write this out. I'm gonna make it very clear. Accumulated power is the thing that made it undying. You can tell from your Legend Lore that it wasn't its status as first, it was its accumulation of power.
It became unkillable.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the spell is very, very, very good for that. It's once,
okay.
wait, twice.
Okay. That's good to know. I don't think I've gleaned anything that will tell me how to kill this thing permanently, if it's even possible. I think it's possible, but I don't know how. So
here's what I'm gonna tell you, because this is like the technical magical knowledge, and you would know enough to kind of come to this conclusion naturally. The process of death from a magical perspective is the spirit leaves the body, and both the mind and the body become useless as the spirit passes on to another plane. That change of the spirit leaving the body does not seem able to happen for this creature. So no matter what you do to the body, the spirit is still within the body, and the soul of this dragon can't be removed through normal means.
Where does the spirit go after something is killed?
That's, I would say, Qiao, your senses of, say, feeling the planes of magic have become so close. They just kind of rise infinitely or fall infinitely, depending on their alignment, depending on their acts in life. Basically, almost immediately, unless there's something tethering them to the world, like a strong emotional attachment or something of that nature.
Okay. That's all I wanted to do for now. If I go examine the dragon's cave, I don't know how far away is the dragon's cave, like super far?
It was like several hours of flying away.
Okay, never mind. In that case, I'm going to go back to the ship, and I want to go to Evelyn's room.
Mm-hmm.
Stealthily.
Oh.
Okay.
I want to go to Evelyn's room. Am I in a position where I can get a line of sight on her through a keyhole or maybe just cracking the door? I just need a line of sight on her, basically.
Yeah. First, roll me a stealth check. And I'm going to say, yeah, there's like, this is a very small ship. Like, she might even be sleeping in like a group, like with where the crewmates are sleeping.
Uh-huh. All right. I will, in that case, I will go ahead and cast invisibility as well. Again, because I'm about to go to sleep anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and just make a stealth check then. Do I get advantage for the invisibility?
With invisibility,
or
we'll just save time and say you're not detected.
Okay.
You see her she's kind of like on a cot, and she's actually she's doing that kind of like silent crying thing. Like, she can tell the other people are asleep, and she's affected and she's upset by something, but she's not outwardly crying, and seems just kind of overwhelmed in this private moment that you steal her on. The other crewmates are fully dead asleep. They get their sleep every chance they get.
Okay. I am going to... I'm going to wait. I'm going to avoid her, and I'm going to wait for an hour or so and see if she goes to sleep.
Yeah. Let me make a check here.
A lot of dice.
Yeah.
Huh.
Rolls every dice he has.
700 damage hits Qiao as no. So
What, Qiao?
I'm gonna say she falls asleep. You can tell that she has had probably one of the most dramatic warlock transformations of any person there. Any person in the world, potentially. She's gone from level 0 to level 15 in the space of a day. And now after today went to level 17. So her entire being is basically just being pumped full of pith energy, this abyss of the energy of the abyss. And she eventually falls asleep, maybe about 30 minutes in. And she just seems scared. And I mean, I'll say you're watching her, you're thinking about it all this time. You kind of feel like she's in control of herself, but she's been doing a lot of acting out to feel in control, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, still wildly dangerous, still has enfeeble mind at her fingertips every day for free. Feeble mind. But you see a moment of vulnerability from her.
Okay. All right. When she's asleep, I need her to make a wisdom save.
All right. Ooh. She rolled a nat 1 on, you know, how much she was keeping it together. And she rolled a nat 20 on that save.
Okay. Well, in that case, one second.
So wisdom save, that's a 25 for her.
Do you dream her?
Oh, actually, it doesn't. She doesn't notice if I fail, and
Wow.
I have another spell. I have another spell slot. So.
Oh, awesome.
I cast again.
Okay. Ooh, that is only a 16.
Okay, that's not enough. I cast Modify Memory, And I approach, and I erase the memory she saw that was my memory. I erase it completely. I replace it with her failing that check and not knowing, failing the check she made on me in order to find that information out. And then I immediately leave and go back to my room.
I'm going to say, this is actually a very tragic way to illustrate this. I'm going to say, as you go in to do this with her mind, you find not only that memory, but a series of other memories that she saw on her way in. She saw your destiny being taken by Johan. You know, she saw kind of your angst and fear about your homeland. And as you're kind of, you know, magically delving through her thoughts and kind of parsing these things out, you feel a lot of sympathy from her. You feel a lot of recognition of your struggle and, you know, pity.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to only erase the portion. She found, what was it? There was some information that she found.
The funeral that you and her both attended, where she saw the key being placed in the crypt.
I erased that.
Yes.
But I leave everything else.
Okay.
And I then am going to cast it again.
You're going to pass Modify Memory again? She needs to make another
I have a
save?
6th level spell slot. About to go to sleep.
Okay, she got a 22.
Okay, then she can keep her memories of murdering all those people then, and I leave.
Oh. What a tragic feeling. I mean, she is asleep. Argue she just auto-fail. Well, I guess not wisdom saves. Yeah.
You could ask her in the morning, like, hey, like, you want, I can help you get rid of those memories of murdering all those people. Or hold on to them. Your choice.
It might not be a good idea to tell people I can modify their memory.
Probably not.
That's probably not.
You can always just take that memory away if you tell her.
All right, I'm sorry this is taking so long. I go back and go to sleep.
No, it's all
We
it's
need
all
to
good
talk.
stuff. As you walk back into your thing, you open the door invisibly, and he's waiting there, arms spread up, foot on the bed, looking at you invisibly.
Say, what about, Corvus?
Pretty nonchalant for just sneaking out.
I'm going to drop invisibility, and I'll close the door. And I'll say, I wasn't sneaking out from you, Corvus.
I understand. Okay, Dad. What? It matters not. Well, I guess I should have some concern for your safety as your assigned guard. There are more pressing matters to attend to.
That reminds me, actually. Why was that member of your order following us?
That is
Table's turn.
actually a little of what I wanted to discuss.
I sit down, and actually,
Are there any measures you can make sure we are not being overheard by anyone?
Not after using all of his 5th and 6th level spell slots.
Yeah, that was a lot of spells. And also, probably not. Let me see.
If you wake up the bard, she could do it.
Gotta get that message cantrip.
Don't we speak Triton?
Oh, you guys do speak Primordial. Yeah.
I'll
say that in Triton?
I'll say, how about, what languages do you speak?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Oh dear, a decent chunk, not a ton though. What languages do I speak? I don't know. I know I speak at least Common and Primordial, so.
Yeah. I'm gonna say here. You speak Primordial, and I'll cast Comprehend Languages on him so he can understand my Sylvan that I'm about to start speaking.
Seems legit.
That's the best I can do.
Very well. Well, you are aware of the order that I belong to and what their mission has been, correct?
Killing cultists, right?
Well,
So casual.
essentially, yes. The information I'm about to give you cannot leave this room. You do not speak about it with anyone else because I am only trusting you with this. It's all a front.
Oh, well, that's
We
bad
have-
news, potentially.
We have always been servants and devotees of the goddess Pith.
I'm going to give him a bit of side-eye and deeply regret blowing all my 5th and 6th levels spell slots. And I'm going to say, an interesting thing at this time in our history.
Yes.
Yeah, Phil, what's going on?
Deeply devoted to Pith, he says. He doesn't save Johan when he's throwing off the fucking ship.
Honest to God, Phil, honest to God, if the Pope had been standing there and Jesus had showed up, said, please don't throw him off the ship. Pope does nothing. Just saying. But anyway, I'm going to say, why are you telling me this potentially questionable thing? I know that previously I was under the impression that you were completely opposite in your beliefs.
Well, that was half the point. The tenets of my order are such that we hold Pith, and the abyss is from where all life has sprung. She is the mother of all, and from her all creation has come forth in some way. To her all creation must go after. Everything has its time, and everything dies, and when it does, it is to her, to the depths, and to nothingness that it returns. Or at least that's what I used to believe. Pith manifested herself at the wedding. She revealed herself to be that which Triton culture and religious belief has always held to be true, that she is a demon. She is full of hate, deceit, and wants nothing more than the destruction of everything. And in the moment I learned of this, my worldview was shattered. The order, for the most part, because there was some suspicion, apparently, about the true nature of our, religious way, scattered before the charges were dropped. Everyone was cleared, especially the man who propagated it all. Address is the leader of us. He is the one who espoused these teachings, and every fiber of me knows, especially after Alarin came, that he knew from the beginning. He knew what she was, and he didn't care. We killed people who believe in this because, one, it was dangerous to society, and that was our role as protectors, but two, because it was wrong. They were butchering our goddess by believing in her as this machine of death, and that's what she actually is. They were right.
Right. They were correct, but they weren't right. I mean...
They were right about her.
Can
I'm
you
not.
explain that correct but right statement you just made?
They were right about Pith, but
They weren't morally right.
What they
They
were doing
weren't
was very wrong.
doing right. They were killing people. It is worse to follow an evil god knowing they are evil than to follow one believing they are good.
I agree with you.
Have I ever told you? I've met her, you know,
You what?
before the wedding. As
How? What?
I was made more than I was born. I think I was for something. And when I was coming of age, my mother brought me to the temple, a deep temple. And there I saw her and others, and I think I was meant for her once. But that man that we threw off the boat took my place instead. And ever since, I have wondered what she wanted of me, and I don't know. But I can tell you this, I heard her speak, and she is every bit the evil creature that people believe her to be. And I have no doubt that any design she has, this warlock plague, this chaos, I have no doubt that it is exactly what she wants, and that we can do nothing but oppose it in every way we can. Otherwise, I don't know if there'll be a bit of dry land left in this world for us to stand on.
She will drag everything down into the abyss. Now, I don't know that, especially with the way that this is taking us, and again, I would much rather that this stays between you and me. But Lauren was following us on orders from Gadrus. She rejoined the order once he started reforming the ranks and once there became rumors amongst them, and I imagine amongst him, of her return. I don't know truly what his relation to her might be, but personally I feel that the man might be some sort of prophet of Pith. I doubt that he has any sort of abilities in the same way that Johan or the other crew members that we currently have manifested. And if he does, I suspect that they would be extremely different in nature, more akin to that of a cleric. But I truthfully do not know if he possesses such abilities. But considering the fact that he knew, and I am very sure that he knew of her return long before any sign of it happened with the granting of these powers to the world, I feel that finding him can be something that aids us in understanding this and finding a way to put a stop to it. Unfortunately, though, the only contact that I had that knew anything and affirmed his insanity is, well, in this, holds up the bag.
Ah, that is problematic. That's problematic. For now, I think that we can continue. I will continue to operate as I have, believing that you are on our side, or at the very least on my side, and you can still count me on yours. You were never here to guard me, were you?
Oh, well, that was per the Tritons, yes. However, Alarin came to me with orders to watch the group, and not too long ago when we were in, I believe it was Point Rec, they had tried giving me an order to kill the lot of you.
Well, thanks for not doing that.
I have no intention of following the madman or his false god.
Very well. Perhaps we can make this right if we're given the opportunity. It is my belief that it is not enough to remove Pith temporarily. I once thought she was necessary, but you don't torture people to make them appreciate life, and there's no reason we should have her around if she's simply going to cause a strife. So I've been doing some research on this. I haven't gotten too far yet, but if we can pull it off, perhaps we can remove her permanently from this. That would be ideal, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So this conversation between Corvus, who has, his mask shapes changing dramatically, doing its best to illustrate this intense emotion he's describing in Primordial, as you respond in Sylvan, happens in the, a candlelit room in the center of this small little ship, deep underground, deep under the ship. Anything else you guys would like to say?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I know better than most how it can feel to believe you're on a path and then to discover it's all a lie. Did I ever tell you about my parents?
Well, you only just said that they made you, essentially, rather than...
Yes. I once thought that I was in stance between our cultures, but the Emperor once told me that my parents were instructed to have me as a bridge. And I think they shouldn't have told me that. But I guess they did.
It's a heavy burden to bear. And to be perfectly honest, it's just really messed up.
Yeah. I think perhaps it's more like no burden at all, because once I felt that I was obligated to serve these people, but times change, and I feel like you probably understand how I feel. So we'll get it done.
Guys, I just have to say, I could have written out this entire story and given you every single little detail of every single little bit of the world and given that to you before that conversation, and I don't think you could have had a perfect conversation that hit all the themes and points and ideas and foreshadowing. I'm just sitting back as a DM like inappropriately into it.
Before I go to sleep, I'm going to reach up to my trident and I'm going to pull off one of the knives, and I'm going to hand it to Corvus, and I'm going to say, "We'll get it done." And I'm going to go to sleep.
Yep.
You go to sleep. I'm gonna say you can treat that dagger, because it's so small, like a stiletto. You can treat that as a dart if you'd like. You can treat it as a hand weapon. It's very flexible for you.
Okay. Seems legit.
Whew. Whew. And I was honestly going into this I really got to get Qiao and Corvus back involved, and now I'm like, it's the Qiao and Corvus show. Give me more. It's perfect. Okay. So the morning comes. As you guys wake up, you see crack of dawn. Before the crack of dawn, Jace is just pumping iron, doing one-handed push-ups with, and a handstand, doing curl-ups with his legs on the mast. Just incredible. You're muted, I think.
At some point, I crawl up to the crow's nest, and I'm just doing chin-ups on the crow's nest.
I like to imagine that, like, while he's doing this, the crew is up doing, like, all this hard manual labor getting ready for the day, and he's just doing all this unnecessary, like, yeah!
Exactly.
So the crew member that Alarin disguised herself as for a couple days on the trip has been awakened and is running around and helping out as well. Very dazed and confused, but Qiao, do you recognize that they were just put on like a subtle poison that, you know, didn't really damage them, just put them to sleep kind of indefinitely until someone got the poison off of them. Yeah, the morning is beautiful. Atreya is beat up, but she's, you know, calling directions. You know, Sir Emory, you've woken up, gotten dressed, had a good morning. Atreya comes up to you right after break of dawn and goes, "Well, sir, you've fought a dragon with me, and I'm grateful for that, and you've helped me survive. The least I can do is repair your ship and get it ready to fly in the next 3 days."
Oh, please do, but take your time. In the meantime, we have an entire island ahead of us to explore. Friends!
She gives a hoorah. Karina gives a hoorah as well. Weak, damaged hoorah. Actually, Karina was the only one who wasn't damaged.
Before we set out, I'll call everybody together. I'll say, friends, I have discovered, or not discovered, but figured a new spell.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Oh no, Qiao's super excited. Qiao has a notebook out already.
And I take 10 minutes. You all can chat while I'm doing this. It requires my work, not yours. You can feel free to chat, drink your coffee. I've got some wine if you prefer. I'm going to ritual cast Telepathic Bond.
Oh, we're just gonna...
Relatively new in my time, so this is all fascinating to me.
So we're just gonna stand here and watch him draw circles?
Hell yeah, we are. And I sit down.
I'm gonna offer this while he's doing that spell. Lyre, yesterday you were told about your sister Ossia and that she was coming to the mainland. She was going to Realm Quarry. I just want to give you a memory of her. She's the most tabaxi of all your siblings. You know, all your siblings are a different degree of human tabaxi, half. She's like almost full tabaxi looking. She just has a lot of fur and is very small. But she is fully a black cat, you know. She's just a black cat creature. She just has like more human hands and just softer features overall. But she was like 8 when you left. Like no, that's too young. Let me think. I'm trying to think of the math.
Like I left like 2 weeks ago.
Well, you left 6 months ago from home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She was like 14 when you left.
Okay.
So she's probably, you know, she might be 15 now. And she was always very mousy and not very, you know, assertive. But, you know, I just want to give you that.
That's kind of awkward for a cat to be mousy.
I know, right?
Yeah. Dang it. Well,
Shy might be a better word choice.
Shy, yeah. Let me see. I'm going to say 2. Give me a chance, because Sir Emory, you're distracted because you're doing this spell. Qiao, while you're watching him, keeping in track, give me just a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay. All right, you get to scroll down. There we go. Oh.
What'd you get?
The first roll was a natural 1.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to say...
Second natural 1 for the win!
You don't see anything. You just know that the meathead is exercising and is not even fazed by all this spell stuff.
The meathead's watching the spell stuff. Meathead's
Okay,
fascinated by the spell stuff.
Fascinated by the spell stuff. Okay. Yeah, so Sir Emory, you may finish this spell. What does this do?
For the next hour, and we can cast this as many times as we'd like, if we take 10 minutes to do so, we can all speak to each other telepathically no matter the distance.
For how long?
For an hour. But I can cast this as many times a day as we'd like if we take 10 minutes.
Oh my
You
gosh.
guys all.
Sir,
Mhm.
oh, I was
So
just
we
going to
can
say, Sir Emory has finally found a way to directly implant his monologues into other people's mind.
Now, even if we are exploring completely different parts of the island, you'll always be able to hear me. There'll be no escape from the voice and thoughts of Sir Emory Warren.
Good.
Everybody.
The better communication we have in such a desolate place as this, the better. I'd hate for one of us to wander off and not know where the other is and die of some massive underground creature or flying creature or sea creature
Do you know something about the creatures inhabiting this place that you haven't yet told
land
us?
creature or stone creature.
Keep
There's lots of
going.
creatures.
Oh. Well then,
Should we be concerned about running into, I don't know, say some creatures
yes.
here, Jace?
When I lived here, the populations were all under control because, well, people lived here. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So quite possibly, yes. I don't know.
So, yeah, I'm going to
Literally.
say that historically, one of the things that was so cool about the Cradle of Orwellin is it kept people safe from those monsters you're describing. I'm going to say this to Atria after a while. She's heard you mention this a couple times, and just in the chaos of it, she hasn't felt the need to correct you. The Cradle of Orwellin is surrounded by lakes and large body of waters, but it's not technically an island. If when flying in over it, you can see large bodies of water, but it's actually a big chunk of the mainland. It's right, in the mainland of this land area. It's hard to know how many creatures. You didn't see much besides that dragon. It seems like not a lot has awoken, or, because there's not the same creatures in existence that weren't immortal before, because Jace might not even know that all of this was underwater a while back. And so a lot of that is unknown. You would know, Sir Emory, and we'll just do this as a story hook. You remember that the Codex is a thing that you've seen enough evidence to know that might exist. This Codex is written by Orellin, and if it's anywhere, it's in the Tomb of Tauren, or the Temple of Tauren.
Oh, well, it seems this codex we're looking for, it could be anywhere on this island, but most likely, if anywhere, it's in the Temple of Tauren. Have we finished exploring the Temple of Tauren?
No, I'm going to say you guys went in, did a little bit of looking around, found Jace, and around that same time is when the dragon appeared.
Yeah, we were busy.
Mhm.
Cool. My recommendation then is that we go finish exploring the Temple of Tauren.
Well, I can give you a tour. What do you want to know?
Excellent.
That'd be good.
Okay, so you guys, I'm assuming you guys all go off. Atria stays behind. She's like, I'm going to keep working on the ship. They've got nasty lightning scarring all over it, so I'm just going to start,
Please do. Get her ship shape.
I want the canon to reflect that Qiao thinks this joke is funny.
It's important to me.
Alex can't bring himself to laugh. The character.
To reflect. Oh my god.
Yeah, so you guys are walking over to the Temple of Tauren. Sir Emory, your experience in geography, and I think you and Atria may have had conversations about this already. This place, there's a reason why, people of ancient history lived here. It's because it's beautiful. It has arable land and sources of water and fresh water and springs, and it's gorgeous. This place is perfect. This place is the place where you should send the rest of Old Wessex. both for geographic and political reasons, because there would be like a returning to the birthplace of Old Wessex. You know, it would be
Interesting.
a big deal for them to return to here.
Mm-hmm. Man, does anybody have a way to send like, I don't know, to send like an animal messenger or something? And nobody here has that, right?
In what
Animal
sense? What do
messenger.
you mean?
I have messengers for that.
Do you?
Well, no, they're all dead. They've been dead for quite some time. But I did.
If we could send somehow
Terrible
a pinch of this,
coincidence.
if we could send somehow a pinch of this dust to Edward in Wessex, you'd be able to follow us here.
I have message.
I think
That's
far enough.
very defined range.
Also need to be able to send a physical object. I don't even know if Animal Messenger would do that, but I think
I'm going to look
kind of
at.
close.
Well, you could strap it to the animal messenger that goes.
Yeah.
Jace, I say,
Yes.
is there a teleportation circle here?
I don't know what that
Almost
is.
definitely. You wouldn't know what it is, but
Because, and I'm going to turn to
Please
Sir Emory.
describe this teleportation circle.
I'll describe what it is.
A circle wherein people appear and other people, or the same people at a later time, disappear.
I love the idea that most of you are talking out loud to each other just by force of habit, but Sir Emory makes a point to speak telepathically every time and like jumps over people's conversations. Like
Lyre's about to have a fit.
So you've been described what a teleportation circle is, Jace.
Then, yes, I believe there's one nearby.
Okay, so question for the DM.
Mhm.
This I'm going to go find it if we can get there without damage. Is it the kind of thing we can access without things murdering us?
I'm going to say you guys will get into the Temple of Torin and be able to tell that. Okay. So
We're all
this
gonna
is
die.
really what?
We're all gonna die, obviously. You don't get to
No,
see it coming.
You guys come up to the Temple of Torin, and I'm just going to pop you guys in front of the Temple of Torin for a second. This is super silly. I actually have to use the restroom, so I'm going to pause the recording real quick, and then I'll be right back. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you guys are in front of the Temple of Torin, thinking about this teleportation circle. You guys know that it's at least safe on the inside, you know, immediately on the inside.
Well, it seems to be safe here.
At least immediately on the inside.
At least immediately on the inside, yes. Can't speak too much for the outside, though.
Okay, so
Anyway, what were you looking for?
So here's the thing. I can cast teleportation circle.
Mhm.
I can cast it, but it requires 50 gold of gem infused ink, which I definitely don't have because I couldn't cast it when I left.
Well, I have
So-
ink, and do I have gems?
I mean, this is a ancient city. I'm sure we could dig some gems up. But point being, we could all go back to society temporarily and then come back if we needed to make a quick trip, since there is a circle here.
Did you say 50 gold or 100 gold?
50 gold.
I have 50 gold of jade dust.
Did
You
you
mix
say
that with ink,
society?
and we have 50 gold worth of ink.
Hey, I mean, if that satisfies the requirements, then yeah.
So I need to look up the exact language of teleportation circle, because you can just teleport to a place without a teleportation circle.
No, but I can go somewhere that does have one.
Do you know the fighting for it?
Yeah. Or if you're very familiar with the place, I think you can just teleport there, if I remember right. There's just a chance of mishap.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a 0 chance if it has a spell circle.
I think that's for the teleport spell. I think it has to be.
Oh, teleportation circle specifically.
Yes.
Yeah, so they have to have, or no. So you can go to individual permanent teleportation circles, and as an emissary, you would know all of the major ones, but probably would have never been powerful enough to do this on your own prior to recently.
So we can go back if we need to do a quick run
Back where?
to one of our cities.
Civilization.
There's other cities. Have they all started to rise from the sea, or are these ones that have existed for quite a while?
A little bit of both.
Fascinating. What are they? I've been asleep for quite some time.
Yeah, you walk them through. Apparently, Shigua has fallen, but the only places that would have teleportation circles as of right now is really just Shigua and Old Wessex. Nowhere else is well enough established to have created one. I mean, only the most powerful of the royal wizards could even begin to do this spell. You know, like, you guys are approaching levels and knowledge that most people in the world don't have.
Yeah. So I'm going to say we can go back to Old Wessex, but the problem is we couldn't. The problem is we might potentially run afoul of our good friend who tried to murder us earlier.
The Justicar.
The Justicar.
He's on his deathbed.
Oh, is he? Or is that just like...
Oh, from Edward himself.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we can go back there.
Interesting.
Although I sort of need to go to Shigua when I can, because my dad might die, and that's probably bad. So...
Probably?
It's definitely bad. But I can always do that in a couple of days. I mean, he's a powerful wizard. I think he's more powerful than me, isn't he?
He was. You don't know about now. I mean,
Okay.
Your meditation, your experience with meditation and fighting this dragon and everything, your meditation was always bizarre. You could detect things normal people couldn't detect, like, but this experience doing this, like killing this dragon, has imbued you with knowledge and power that you didn't have before. And so, like, to put it into perspective, like, your dad was probably like a level 10 wizard by the time, you know, and he hasn't gotten any stronger ever. You know, he's just kind of been there forever.
Okay. So short answer, yes. We can send something back, but it has to be like us also.
Yeah, I mean, you've been told that Shigua has been destroyed. So it's safe to assume that whatever temple teleportation circle they have set up wouldn't be destroyed, but, like, you have no idea how extreme that destruction is. If it's a burning crater or if it's lawless renegades, or, you know, it's very open to interpretation what's going on there.
So what's the next move? Do we continue the exploration of the temple, or do we go back to Wessex or Shigua? My vote's for the temple.
I also want to examine how things have changed here over the past several thousand years.
I think if we get into a situation where I need to use powerful magic, we might as well do that, and then I can always sleep on it and teleport us. You know, so let's check on the temple.
Temple it is.
Okay. So you guys enter into this temple. It is like you left it before, pristine. Whatever magic is in here that's keeping it up is going well. Sir Emory, it is much easier to read both glyphs and sigils of both glyphs and runes of the Orellan text now. And I mean, it's just, you're getting used to it. You're just becoming better at doing it quickly. And so you can easily, like, point down things and see things that no one else has seen.
Oh, look there! It looks like that used to hold some kind of magical instrument. Huh. Interesting. On we
Yeah.
go.
So,
Chad pointed that out yesterday.
butting in on that. I'm gonna say Phil. Jace will see places and be, oh, this is the ashes of this army I fought along, or the remains of a stone giant I killed, and a lot of this is very you-centric. But that's also because you were kind of in a place of honor on the top floor, or the ground level. When you approach the back of the temple, you find what kind of appears to be like a cellar door, but it's made out of marble. And it's like rotten to the ground. And Jace, you don't remember this being here. But Emory, you immediately read the Arellan text, and you say, and it says, the trials of the Codex.
Huh. I don't remember this being here. Not even slightly.
What does
Says
it
the
say?
trials of the Codex. Interesting. These are probably trials one overcomes in order to obtain the Codex.
Would I know what this codex is?
So you would remember potentially like fragments of memories of seeing Arellan writing it in her strange golden text, and she had explained to you that this is this really important thing, and for people like you and her that are monsters or incredibly capable, this would make the rest of the world ready for us, ready for it was kind of her belief that both you and her were born thousands of years before your time. You were paragons of strength and ability and intellect, and so she put a lot of this stuff in the book.
Or at least I've seen the early stages of it being written. Arellan wrote in it quite frequently. Thought that it was going to be important at some point in the future. Didn't really give me much more information beyond that. Honestly, I didn't really ask much because it was beyond me anyway.
Well,
It's
guess-
probably not far enough in the future yet. Let's turn around and go home.
Well, it's
that sounded like a lie from you.
I'd say this door is just waiting to be opened.
I love the idea. You guys can do what you want, but I love the idea of call to action. Oh, turn around, completely ignore it.
Call to action for
It's
someone else.
It's the section of the hero's journey where you work an office job for 40 years. And
You went back to the carpet store?
Yes!
Went back to the carpet. I'm gonna say to Arellan, you're like more, or Arellan, geez, Sir Emory, you would be more aware of the lore around the Codex, and basically it's this book about the nature of reality. And some people argue that that's like a physics thing or a magic thing, or Arellan was known for being a brilliant mathematician as well. But like that, when she died, she entrusted it to her children, who were the next, kings of the Cradle of Arellan. And after studying it, they deemed it too dangerous to be the world to know about it. And so, using her own tomb, they like protected it in something that she designed to test people of their worthiness.
What are these trials supposed to be?
Oh, I've heard nothing about the trials, but I suppose there's only one way to find out, yes?
Indeed, and I open the door.
Cellar doors open, these big marble, beautiful marble constructs, and our crew of people go in. Right now I think it's Jace, Lyre, Karina, Sir Emory, Qiao, Corvus. Is there anybody I'm forgetting? Oh, are you guys allowing Evelyn to come with you?
No.
She would have wanted to.
No.
No from Jace? No?
I'll say she is pretty powerful, but I don't know if necessarily she needs a book that explains she's pretty deep into the pith thing, so maybe not her.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is it dark down there?
Yeah, as you open it, it is dark. It is very Indiana Jones, Legend of the Lost Ark. You open it up, and as the doors click open, you see a series of torches go down a hallway that goes deep into the earth.
I look around for Nicolas Cage.
Dun 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 dun.
If only.
Yeah.
That's Indiana Jones.
Indian Jones. We're all over the place.
You hummed it.
No, that's
I
Indiana
did.
Jones.
I
Indiana
tried to
Jones.
say that. I was holding my chin. I was holding my chin so I couldn't enunciate.
Old Indian Jones.
As you're coming in, Sir Emory, it's kind of funny because you're not super familiar with the Arellan language in terms of its day-to-day use. You just study the books of it. As you go in, you see these texts that are like, test your strength, and test your heart, test your mind, and test your spirit. And it's like, it almost feels like you're going through like a weird carnival. Like it kind of feels like it's like tests of this, and you come into this big open arena area that has 2 doors on either side that are like stone doors that seem to have like, they're really obvious. You can even see mechanisms that would like lock them once you went inside of them. And you looking at these glyphs, these pictures, you can tell that the center of the chamber itself is structured in a way that is reminiscent of like a chest, like the thorax of a human person. And the exit out of this chamber appears to be like where the base of the neck would be. And the 2 sides seem to be like arms going off in either direction. And you can tell reading these Arellic glyphs all over the place that this is a test based on the 3 sections of the body, the extra magical sections of the body: the mind, the mind, the body, and the soul, which in this case is represented by the sacrum and the heart, the groin area. And so what you are reading as you go through this is a trial meant to test all 3 aspects of whatever group has entered this place to see if the world above is ready for the information or has progressed to the point where it can use the information in these books.
Interesting. Are we kind of in the chest area now, or is that kind of down below
Yeah,
us?
you guys are in the chest area right now. You can tell there's like inlaid stone things on the ground, and this is a very high vaulted ceiling, probably about 20, 30 feet. And it seems like it's all these ancient designs, ancient creations that were meant to test the ability of whoever came in here. You're reading this, and Karina is walking along you, kind of also trying to read things like out loud as she's walking around, but being careful not to, activate anything. What are people's instincts here? Because you told Evelyn to stay back. Karina is walking around. Is there like detect magic going on? What are people's instincts down here?
Strength. I'll do that one. And I just go over to the strength challenge.
Yeah, so that's the room you're in. You just stand right in the center of this big room. Sir Emory explains that to you.
I mean, I can read it, can't I?
I guess you could actually, yeah, because this isn't glyphs.
I can run some detect magic. Let me double check I have.
Imagine I was speaking it
Yes.
at the first time they saw me.
So remember we said you were speaking like an old version of Common?
Right.
Ye old common.
Ye old Common.
Can we take 10 minutes
Yeah.
so we can ritual cast stuff? And I am going to also cast Detect Magic. And the first thing I'm going to do is not look at stuff. I'm going to look around for Evelyn, hiding invisibly.
Okay, so what are you doing with that? Like how you're casting a Detect Magic?
Yeah, I'm going to cast Detect Magic so that I can sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of me. And I am going to walk around. It shows a faint aura around any. It does say visible creature. So I guess that wouldn't work.
I never noticed that before.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Okay. Instead,
Mhm.
The things you notice when they're relevant.
Oh, now you're back. What'd you say?
never mind.
I mean, you don't have any kind of see invisibility thing?
I don't think I have see invisibility. I don't have the spell.
Actually, I think, based on the wording here, I think detect magic would like let you know that there was a source
Illusion
of
magic?
illusion magic, but it wouldn't. Well, not even that it was illusion. That there was some kind of magic near you, but you wouldn't be able to see where it was or the
So we're
what it
gonna do
was. But-
we're gonna do some story crafting here. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say if you cast detect magic and then sit in a central location of this room and meditate for a time, that we can treat this as kind of like a detect magic with a see invisibility on top of it, and you can go into more depths on the things around you.
Okay, sure, I'll do that then.
Okay. You sit, you meditate, you start to sense all around you. You feel very strong evocation magic just built into the walls of this place. This whole thing is kind of constructed from magic. You feel divination magic, and you see a small floating eye floating near Karina. And you see Elizabeth, who's standing at the, not Elizabeth, excuse me, Evelyn, who's standing at the far entrance, quite far away from you, invisibly, just kind of curiously poking her head in.
I'm still mentally connected with everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say, through the very useful mental connection, hey guys, Evelyn is back there at that door invisible. And also, Karina, you have like an eye watching you next to you, like a divination thing? And
What?
you do that, or is somebody else
No,
doing
I
that?
haven't. I haven't done that. No, that's not me.
Okay, well, she's back there staring at us, so... And someone's scrying on you, maybe?
That does
Well,
sound like the
Oh.
description.
Oh, it's probably your horrible husband.
I thought
We
he
should
died.
break that. I say out loud.
Uh,
And I look around and go, in my head, was I not supposed to do that?
Is
I don't know
Evelyn
if that's out of
involved in
character
your...
for Corvus to just...
Are you speaking into Evelyn's head as well?
She's
no,
not
we
part of
didn't
the
connect.
ritual, right?
No, I didn't
Okay.
connect to her.
I'm just going to
Okay.
say, all right, what do we want to do about Evelyn? We can't have her stabbing us in the back halfway through whatever we're doing.
Evelyn,
I'll take care of her.
go back to the ship.
You see her like put her hands up invisibly and not move and just like think like you're bluffing. Like she's just like, if I don't move,
I'm gonna
they
say-
can't
I'm
tell
gonna
me to
say-
do more stuff.
I'm going to say, hands up, in the back door, looking suspicious, get out.
See, she is very determinedly like she goes up to a wall and presses up against the wall. Thinks that she's like hiding herself more.
She's
Point
still
man in
not-
her direction.
I point directly at Evelyn.
We both, I assume since he's going to start moving, we both just start moving towards her.
All right.
You see some dust spit up from the ground as she runs back down the hallway.
I
No,
assume
that's-
she's gone.
Probably. Yes.
Does someone that can see it kill the eye?
I will shoot man, I don't want to alert the person that we know.
A dispel magic would take care of it.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to
Magic's
do.
the only thing that'll take care of it.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, hey guys, I think I'm going to say in my mind, I'm going to make some shit up so that I can cast Dispel Magic. And I'm going to say, I think that we still have that curse that the dragon put on us. Can we all get together so I can get rid of that before we go through this trial?
Yes. Let us all get together in a circle so you may dispel the curse of the dragon.
And
Dragon. Curse.
Karina, Dragon curse? Dragon curse! Yes, dispel the dragon curse.
I'm confused.
You just see Lyre like super embarrassed.
I'm gonna
Stand in
say,
a circle.
in
Just
Jace's
stand in
mind,
a
I'm gonna
circle.
say, just go with it. I'll explain later. Please.
Right. Dragon curse. I remember that from before.
Oh god.
Oh god.
It sounds like Dragon Tales, like the Dragon Tales theme song.
Dragon curse, dragon curse. Okay,
I remember that from before.
I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic.
You cast
So-
Dispel Magic. You see that the eye disappears, evaporates into the air. Yeah, I'm going to say you're casting this Dispel Magic kind of in a very vague way, you know, just trying to get rid of any special effects that are around you. You feel Argin's magical items for a moment, and you feel like they are incredibly powerful magical artifacts, but have a weird, basically, loophole. It seems like it would be very easy to break the enchantments on them. You don't have to if you don't want to, but as you're doing this, you feel a strange delicateness to the weapons that he has on him.
Argin?
Jace.
Yeah.
Oh, Jace. Okay. Okay. I don't want to do that, but I will keep that in mind for later, in case he acts contrary to everything I know about it. And I will. Yeah, I say it's gone.
Excellent.
Arena goes, creepy eye, creepy X's. Well, I don't know if it was Johan, but
Yeah, well, I mean, it was probably him. But
Well, what can we say? Some guys are just really shitty sometimes.
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Jace. Earlier I told you that my husband had died. That's not 100% true. We threw him off a ship, so it was likely that he died.
I don't know. If you threw me off a ship, I wouldn't die, and I think that he's probably
I wouldn't
more
die
powerful
either.
than me.
I highly
So,
doubt any of us would die.
Yeah, actually,
Karina
I'd
goes,
probably die.
I would not be thrown off the ship.
aren't you a monk? Don't you have slow fall?
Actually, is that a thing, Monzingo?
Yes, that's the thing you're supposed to have.
Oh yeah.
You're
That's
the
right.
most.
I
You're the
forgot
most
about
okay.
that.
that's
Yeah.
funny.
But anyway, it's gone. Do we want to deal with this? I guess now.
Yes, what is this dragon curse?
Yes, I made it up so that I could cast Dispel Magic on Karina without seeming suspicious.
Oh, dragons do not have curses. Just so that you know, in the future. I've killed many. Never once have I been cursed.
He
Not
says,
long enough to utter any words.
and pushes this weird black tentacle into his ear. Never once have I been cursed.
Oh my gosh. Guys, you guys do more foreshadowing than I could ever. Okay.
Wait, what part of that was foreshadowing, Jacob?
Nothing. No, nothing.
Jacob!
Damn it, Jacob. All right. Did you see anything besides the scrying sensor and that invisible woman in the back?
No, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say not in this room. I think, Qiao, you're probably experiencing like a little bit of shock at how delicate and powerful that your abilities have become. Like, I think you haven't meditated like that for a while, and you feel like you can see the entirety of the depths, which doesn't make any sense because it's infinite. You feel like you can see deeper into the sky than you've ever been able to. Like your abilities are starting to scare you a little bit in that way, but that's not anything to do with here or now or the room you're in.
Okay, I'm thinking I need to read this book, but that we're trying to find. But I'm not going to say anything. I guess I'll look around the room with the rest of us and see what's going on.
I go back to the strength challenge.
Yeah, so you stand ready in front of the strength challenge, ready to go. From what you can tell, there is a trial of intellect, a trial of strength, and a trial of heart. And in the trial of intellect, there seems to be basically just like a screen, like a magical display of some kind, in front of a table that has a lot of room to write, and it has like pre-prepared parchment and papers and everything. And going in, you can tell that this is all extremely advanced. This is like the creme de la creme of Orellan's work in creating this magical monitoring system by which someone in this room who is, given these questions or given these historical questions could come up with answers and be graded according to some, installed thought, installed brain. Like, this is incredibly futuristic. This is far beyond anything that anyone has experienced. It's very magical. It's deeply magical. And this is probably creepy to Lyre at first. In the Challenge of Heart, there is nothing but a giant, like, kind of minimalistic representation of a face with just eyes, brows, and a long, straight mouth, just on one side of the wall. And the rest of the room is built like a stage and seems to have like places to sit and small little kind of like apple boxes, without a better excuse or better explanation of them, that you could kind of like set up some sort of presentation, something like that. And then this Challenge of Strength, which is the main room that you walked into. All there is just that strange stone thing in the ground. And it seems like all of this has to be activated somehow. Like, people have to go to where they are. And Sir Emory, you would be watching around and see that you kind of have to state that you want to take the challenge, and all of you have to be in agreement.
Okay. Well, Jace, if you wanted to take the Challenge of Strength, I figure you might just stand on that or next to the thing in the ground and state, I want to take the Challenge of Strength.
I want to take the Challenge of Strength.
You see some magic sink into the thing. It seems to detect that there are more people in here, and this requires everybody to be on board. Nobody in the room can not say it and the challenge starts.
So do we want to... Will it get harder if multiple people do it?
So from what you can tell looking at it, which would be impossible to do without multiple people. You would need at least 3, and it looks like ultimately multiple people can take each of the challenges, and it doesn't increase the difficulty. You just have more people on your side. So for instance, like, Sir Emory may be able to just, fully arm wrestle this Challenge of Intellect to the ground. But if someone else who was smart was in there helping him, that might help. If someone was helping Jace, that might help him. If someone was helping in the Challenge of Heart. Karina seems kind of torn between either the Challenge of Heart or Intellect. And, we're just kind of all figuring out what's the best here. It's what's most suited to people.
Do we have to do all of these challenges at the same time? So, like, if you help with the Challenge of Intellect, can you also help with the Challenge of Strength, or are you doing the Challenge of Intellect at that point?
Roll me an Arcana check, because this is something you wouldn't be able to tell unless you were starting it, And, like, there are instructions, but it doesn't go into a lot of detail,
23.
23. From looking at how, like, the stone is constructed and, like, strange pipes are leading from place to place, you can tell that the Challenge of Strength is really the main challenge. The Challenge of Body is really the main thing. But depending on the performance of the people on either side, the Challenge of Strength will become easier. And the Challenge of Strength without those people doing it may be fully impossible.
So you have to do them at the same time, correct?
Yeah, and if you don't do the sides on the side quickly enough, it may make whatever challenge is on the internal deadly.
Okay. So, personally, I believe I'd probably be best suited to either intellect or strength, depending on how everything else fills out.
Probably 100% intellect.
If you may, Jace.
Awesome. I think myself and Corvus are best suited for the task of strength. Qiao, Emory, you should do the trial of intellect. And Karina and Lyre, you should do the trial of heart.
You would think that, but while I can hit hard, I'm not very physically strong.
That's fine. I'll
Says
get
the
it.
guy with a strength score of 6.
Oof.
I-
What's
I
your
can't-
int score?
Wait, is my strength better?
I can
Probably.
cast Big B's hand, which is super strong.
What is
No.
your strength score, Dan? Because I can go. Or sorry,
I have
your
a strength of-
intelligence score.
I mean, I have an intelligent average. It's 10.
Because I can go like giant sized, and I have a strength of 19.
I was gonna
So
say
I have advantage and a strength of 19.
you be much more from what I've seen. I believe Sir Emory is probably more suited to that. And of the rest of us, I believe that between the two of you, you two are likely the most suited for those things. While I do not necessarily know the details of either of the other challenges, my skills might best be used elsewhere.
Good. Then it's decided. So
Jace and
Emory,
I on
you
strength?
and I
Yeah.
tackle the challenge of strength.
Okay, I'm going to. I believe. Let me check on something. I feel like this is going to be like athletics? Is that what it seems like?
Again, it's really hard to tell. Normally, I mean, historically, and this is just, since you guys are so smart, this would be a fight to the death. This would be like a gladiatorial thing. So this would be like a combat.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In that case, then maybe Corvus
In
should
that
do
case,
this.
then yeah,
If it's
maybe
not pure
Corvus should do
strength.
that.
Yeah, I'll go intelligence then.
I thought it was like. I legitimately thought it was going to be
thought
like lift
I thought
this
we were going
rock.
to try to pick the
Lift
rock
the
out
rock.
of the ground. That's what I was thinking too.
If that was the story, then probably Jace could just handle it.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Okay.
In that case,
With a better understanding of it, I shall join you, Jace.
Good. I knew my first plan would work.
definitely
Right.
intelligence for me.
Cool. And then Lyre and Karina on the heart stuff.
Well, we know the most about it out of all of y'all.
He goes,
Men can be
I have
assholes
been
sometimes.
married once.
I think I am the only one here with a successful marriage.
I'm married to my work.
I'm
That
going to
counts.
say,
Never mind.
Girlfriend's.
Jace, do you think
No,
Jace has any curiosity about his family? His family line? Because he had a lot of kids.
I think he definitely is very curious, but at the time being, that's not the most important thing. He is currently interested only in fulfilling his destiny so that everything can be normal again, or else it would have all been for nothing.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Character, man. He's a heartfelt dude. Heartfelt love.
He's a nice guy.
Good old himbo. Okay.
Yeah, he's totally himbo.
A very, very capable himbo. So very pushing the line of
So, what's his
Krunk.
name? Yeah, he's himbo.
That's a Kronk's a himbo.
Or like, what's his name's Tarzan from the 90s?
Oh, you mean George of
Brendan
the
Fraser?
Jungle?
No.
George of the Jungle. Yeah.
George of the Jungle, yeah.
Heart of gold dummy.
Yeah. Super
But he's not
capable.
really a dummy. It's just fun to think. Okay, so does everybody declare their intention to take these trials?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start rolling initiatives. Karina says, I wish to take the trial of heart. And everybody tell me your initiative.
Dang.
Unnatural 20.
23.
That was 4 in voices at once.
What'd you get? Natural 20? What was that together, Alex?
Unnatural 20, I said.
Unnatural 20. 23 on Lyre?
Yep.
Also 23.
Also a 23. Okay.
20 total for me.
Wow.
Matt, Phil, it looks like you're conducting over there. You've got that little one that you're like.
What'd you get, Phil?
5.
5.
It's 20, 23, 23, 25.
I like to think he's just like, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Damn, that hurt. Do it again.
Ugh.
Rip and tear.
Until
the
it's
job is
done.
done. Okay.
Nerd.
So everything in this room starts to whir to life. And I'm going to start with the center because that's kind of like the main thing. This stone pillar in the middle rises up out of the ground, seems magically, and it's kind of this mechanical automaton with about like 6 legs and has these 2 big, chunky, like basically guns attached to its arm. And this is some magical construct that she's made. Argin would have seen her doodling this in one of her books, potentially. But again, like, this is a creation of Aurelian, specifically meant to make war, and it looks like she only ever made 1. It is terrifying. It has thick armor plating all over it, extremely strong. You can see magic coursing into it from the other rooms. In the room with her intellect, the screen buzzes to life, and in this strange omnibus text that both Qiao and Emory can read, a trivia question comes up. And this is a really complicated trivia question. And all these papers on the table come to life. You can tell like a library bursts into life on the left side, just appears magically and seems to have all these different topics and everything. And then in the room on the other side, the face goes into a frown suddenly, and the eyes open, and there seems to be like a black onyx stone on the inside, and they're just looking right on the stage. We're going to follow initiative here. Corvus, you're up.
Before we
What?
start, I'm going to look at this creature, this automaton coming out of the ground, and I'm just going to look at it and say, "Oh, you must be Servo. I saw you when you were just a design in a notebook. Not very chatty, I see. That's fine. I'll dismantle you, and then we can talk."
I totally forgot. Show me what you've got.
Now I'm imagining. Now I'm
That's what it
imagining
is.
like. Now I'm imagining Karina being like, "I don't want to do this," and she just explodes, and it's just like, "There's one every year."
That's hysterical. There's one every year. I totally forgot about that entirely, and that is literally I could have stolen that, truly. Okay. Now, so Corvus, you are up.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna, hit the thing because that's. Wait, how far away is this thing from me?
We're gonna say you guys started a good 30 feet away, just standard.
Okay. All right then. And he's gonna run up and he's gonna hit it.
Okay, roll the hit.
10.
10?
Yeah.
You hit it. It feels harder than anything you have ever hit in your life. You're a monk, you have trained, you have punched rocks to firm up your arms and your things. This thing is magically or some other way more sturdy than anything you've ever hit in your life.
Well, that's good to hear because my next roll is a 23.
That does not hit.
Oh shit.
Say what?
Again, you go in again, you go like rear back, go into smack it. Again, hardest thing you've ever hit.
God willing, the next room's reduce the
Who's
AC
shitting
on
off?
that thing, because Jesus.
Well, frick. All right, let's try to hit it again.
We're having some trouble.
We're gonna be doing a flurry of blows.
Flurry of blows, okay.
All right, first roll is not gonna hit. Second roll is also not gonna hit.
Oh.
Okay.
I rolled below a 10 on the dice on both of those. Which sucks.
Flurry of blows. You were trying to get into it. This thing is an alien object to Corvus. Anything else you'd like to do?
Argin, this thing's a lot tougher to hit than you might think.
We'll see about that.
All right.
Yeah, that's my turn. Yeah.
Now it's up to you, Lyre. You're in front of this strange face that's looking at you.
Oh, your face. Okay, so am I supposed to attack this thing or perform for it?
And it's supposed to be a challenge of the heart. It seems to be looking at you.
Okay, I'm gonna roll performance for it. I'm gonna play it a love song.
All right, roll me a performance check.
I'm like, okay. I actually had my spell page pulled up, so I need to get up my skill page now.
It's supposed to be done by the applausometer. Unfortunately, there's no audience members, so you
just one big face.
That will be a 23 performance for a love song.
Yow.
Wow.
Nice.
What's the topic of the song as you're going into it?
Love.
Yeah, love.
Well, I mean, give me some more. Give me some juice.
Two lovers, separated, but not really like catching on the same page. And then suddenly it clicks and they realize that they're for each other and they're
see the face slowly go like to neutral. And it's looking at you and the brows lift a little bit. You see some magical effect leave this room and enter into the machine, and you're not sure what it's done, but it seems to have changed something.
Well, that was fun.
Okay. Next up is Alex.
Okay. What does it look like I'm expected to do here? What's the trivia question say?
The trivia question is, at approximately 500,000 after creation, what major event caused a layer of sediment to appear over the entire eastern shore of Ojoysa? And you see that there's
your notes.
There's a large bookshelf next to you, and you can roll me like investigation checks to try and find the correct book, or you can attempt to write down the answer or deduce the answer.
Okay, I am going to cast skill empowerment on myself and choose history.
Okay.
So can I make a check this turn?
Yeah. Roll me an investigation check to like read into this book.
Can I just try to remember if I've ever heard this?
I mean, this is history that you would truly not know.
Oh,
but
I
if
see.
you want to roll me like a very high DC history check, like to just deduce what it probably was, you can do that.
Okay,
Do you know what two characters you have in this room?
Yeah. Well, I will say that. 1 second.
You have someone that was probably actually alive then, and you have a person who's literally a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, you can guys both make the hit check and see if you know, because this would be, this would be geography information. This is something you might be able to know,
Is it something that I might know?
I don't think so. I think you were probably only alive for maybe 50 years prior to being put to sleep, 40 years. And this is like ancient history. This is like geography.
Okay, I would like to try.
Yeah. So you're just going to try and answer it.
Yes. So 24.
24. That actually does hit the DC I assigned for that.
Yeah.
So just for the fun of it, what does Qiao put down on this piece of paper?
The layer of sediment. That would have been. I believe I'd read something about the Great Stone Crab migration. and apparently there were quite a few seagulls. And I'm going to write down Great Stone Crab Migration.
Funny because
So,
there's people in universe in this world.
So you write down Great Stone Crab Migration. I love that. We have writing history, and you see like a kind of a green bing bing light come on, and the question changes suddenly, and you see some magic flow into this monster again.
Oh yes, the Great Stone Crab Migration. Well done.
Just throwing it out there that I rolled an 11 on the die.
Wow, skill empowerment is no joke.
Skill empowerment, I do not regret taking.
Yeah, that is wild.
Does that give you
good.
expertise on it?
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay. You complete this question, and it actually gives you 2 separate questions that you can take now if you'd like. Now it is down to Emory.
Yes, I would like to take a look at these questions here.
Yeah, so one is about ecology and is about like wildlife and nature. And that one is like, what are the effects of a red dragon on the local environment if there is not a volcano in the area? You know, something like very, very specific like that. And then there's another history check that is actually about the creation of elves. And is talking about Tauren's creation of elves. Were elves created before or after dwarves and humans?
Okay. I'm gonna take that. Red dragon one. Is that something I feel like I might know off the top of my head, or would it be best to research it?
You get the feeling you might know it off the top of your head.
I will take a guess at it then. Nature check, or do you want Arcana?
Nature.
It's the same either way. Ooh, 25.
Awesome.
16
What do
on
you
the
write
die.
down? What do you write down on there?
Oh, if there's not already a volcano there, what volcano is created?
Ding ding. Just writing history. I love it. Writing the laws of nature.
Yeah,
I should have set those
over time, the volcano, over hundreds of years, will build up underneath the red dragon.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll take it. So let me see. Wow. So as this happens, you see a couple chunks of this robot go fall off in different places. You see more of it is exposed as these kind of successful checks have reduced it. Okay. Now we are to the intellect test. You see that a strange light flashes from off of the screen that you guys are looking at. I need you to both roll me intellect saving checks.
Intelligence save?
Saving checks. I actually don't have proficiency, but I have a great intelligence, so. Oof. 7 plus 6, but let me check this. 7 plus, so that's a 13, but I am going to use my arcane deflection.
Ooh.
When you are hit by an attack or fail a saving throw, you may use your reaction to gain a +2 bonus to your AC or a +4 bonus to the saving throw.
So that's a total of what?
So my total is 17.
Ooh, what'd you get, Qiao?
28.
Whoa!
I do have proficiency in intelligence saving throws because I'm a squishy wizard.
Wow.
I took fighter first class so I could get that heavy armor.
So Qiao, as you look at this, you realize it's some sort of dazing effect that's trying to like slow down your intellect and confuse you. You're able to block your eyes, avoid the effect of it. Sir Emory, you're unable to do so. It flashes. You look at it for a second. For the remainder of this challenge, you'll have -2 to your intelligence saves.
That's fascinating. Oh!
Intelligence checks and saves. So anything intelligence
Ouch.
associated will have a -2. Now it is our monster's turn. It comes over to Daniel, Corvus, and it's going to take a shot at you. The gun's lower, and it's going to take one at you. The other one points at Johan. It's going to take 2 attacks. Not Johan.
What?
Johan.
Wait, what?
Jace. Ooh. Whew, okay. Well, got a nat 20 on the one to Jace, and on the one to, let me see, Corvus, that is a 26.
Well, it's only 10 above my AC, so.
Okay, so first, Corvus will take 14 piercing damage.
I'm waiting for
And then
the
he'll
hit.
take 19 lightning damage. And he needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Actually, wait a second. This has nothing to do with poison, does it?
Nope.
Okay, well then, yeah, I need to make a con save. That's probably not going to be enough. That is a 13.
That is not enough. You are stunned, and electricity shocks into you as these strange bullets pierce you, and you are stunned as you're hit. Now I got to roll a lot of dice for my buddy Jace here.
Good luck, dude.
You take 7, 13, 20, 26 piercing damage.
23.
Right.
Minus an additional 4 because I'm going to use warding maneuver. So 19.
Okay. And then you take 15, 18, 19, 23, 29 lightning damage. And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Uh, 25.
You feel this lightning go into you. You start to feel foam come out of your mouth, but you hold steady. You manage to resist the effects of it.
Right. Destroy that.
Okay. Now, going on in the thing, the room with the face in it, the mouth opens slightly, and as porous gas starts to fill the room. I need you and Karina to make charisma saving throws. Karina got a 14.
Nat 20, but 28 total.
Ooh.
Your serenity cannot be touched as you are playing this lyre and weaving this song. You see Karina starts to laugh hysterically. And it crosses the line of being like coy and cute, and it's like, ooh, she needs help. Like she's like pathetically scream laughing, you know.
Same.
Now we are on to Argin, Jace.
Boom. And I am going to run straight at it. And I need it to make a strength saving throw.
Strength saving throw. All right. Ooh, that is only a 9.
It is knocked prone.
Oh, that thing is gonna get so fun.
As you run up to it, you like barrel into it, and you see that like Aurelin was an egghead. She really she knew about combat, but she was not like a thing. And you realize she made this thing wildly buff on the outside and like impenetrable. And then where it's affixed to the ground, there's just like a really like less substandard just kind of hinge. And you just hit it just right, and you hear some metal creaking and cracking, and it goes and hits the side. And
Does
fully
anybody
is
else
like,
think of those like football tacklers?
yeah, wild. Yeah, you knocked it prone.
So that first attack that did that was only a 19 plus 11, so 31. No, sorry, just 30.
That hits.
I'm struggling today when it comes to math. Where's my D8? There it is. And my 2 additional D6. Okay. So that'll be 8 slashing and 5 fire damage to it for the first strike. I'm going to use Unwavering Mark on it as well. So when I hit a creature with a melee attack, I can mark the creature until the end of my next turn. While within 5 feet of me, a marked creature has disadvantage on any attack roll that doesn't target me. If the marked creature deals damage to anyone else, you can make a special melee attack against it on your next turn as a bonus action with advantage and +9 to damage. And you can make this 5 times per long rest. So
awesome. Wow.
Anyway, it's prone. Shouldn't I have advantage on these attacks, by the way?
You can, yep, it's prone.
Okay, so my next attack, natural 20, mind you. So we'll go ahead and roll the damage for that. There it is.
I love the idea that this starts to get kind of cute. Things start to get a little bit harder. And, you guys pass a couple of these checks. Some of these spell effects go off. And then you from the main room. Boom!
So I slashed into it the second time, doing 15 slashing damage, which is nice, and then 14 fire with that second attack.
14 fire. Wow. Okay.
And then the third attack. Wow, I rolled 2 18s plus 11, so 29.
That'll hit.
Okay. That'll be 12 slashing, and that's a 6, not a 9, and 11 fire. And let's see, and that's all I can do.
Okay, you start laying into this thing. You can tell its armor is protecting it from some of your damage. It has some damage resistance built into it, but you're chunking through even that and just kind of wailing on it with your fire swords. The fire seems to be affecting it more. I gotta bring out my calculator for this thing's health.
I want to point out I am specifically going for its cannons as well.
Oh, you're trying to disable its cannons?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll let you know if that does anything. You're still breaking through armor. You haven't been able to disable anything yet.
Sounds good.
Okay. Cool. It is prone. Karina, who is in there, is like, oh gosh, diplomacy. I'm not a performer. I'm a noble. I guess I can do that.
I can noble it.
You're not guilty until proven. I mean, you're innocent until proven guilty, and discretion is the greater part of the law. She just tries to talk about law at this face. Let me see if I can get a good diplomacy. Whoa.
Good woe, bad woe.
Very good woe. She starts off very awkwardly, and then she gets excited talking about her own stuff, and she's like, like my husband, he was a complete, and accidentally goes into this story about Johan and how much she's improved as a person now that Johan's gone, and goes from a diplomacy into a persuasion into a performance. She's got a 19 on a die, and that's a +7 to persuasion. So she does really good. You see the lips kind of curl up a little bit more, or kind of in an awkward kind of like opera smile, you know, kind of like, this is good, but I've been sitting here for 6 hours. Okay. And you see some more magic fly through the thing, and you see another plate of armor fall off this creature. Okay. Now, we are at Corvus again. Unfortunately, you are stunned.
So we're not at Corvus again. Yay!
You can roll a save. You can roll an attempt to break the stunning. And the DC is lowered now because the monster has passed more checks.
What is it? Con save, I assume, still?
Constitution saving, yep.
Okay, that's another 13.
Unfortunately, you are still shocked by this electricity coursing through you. Okay. Now we are to Lyre again.
Alrighty. I'll roll another performance check, but this time I'll change up the song to more of a loss ballad. I don't know.
Lost ballad, a sad song, a blues
Yeah, sad
song. Yeah.
blues, yeah. And that will be a 7.
Total?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I rolled a 1.
Wow.
And it was still a 7, guys.
You're distracted by Karina's story a little bit, and you're like,
You're just distracted by Karina.
what?
I'm
I didn't say that.
I'm like, Lyre's not really bisexual.
Don't sound so disappointed, Phil.
No, I totally thought she was based on every interaction that she's had so far this game.
Lyre
No.
has a humongous crush on Qiao.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She literally left her hometown for him, and you think she doesn't have a huge ass crush on this dude?
I was not aware that's why you did that. I thought you were just bailing on that place.
Yeah.
It was half and half. You were a great opportunity, but on the boat ride over, a crush
A
developed.
great opportunity in more ways than one.
Yeah.
So I did forget about her laughing condition, but all I was going to do is make that have a -2 to charisma, and she already had a 29, so she's fine. Just so I'm being fair on that.
Okay.
Okay, now we are back to Qiao.
All right, so what's left? We have elves.
Yeah, so elves, what are the order in which elves were created in terms of dwarves and humans? And then there is another question that is actually about Arcana that, just for the fun of it, we'll say it's what is the magical definition of sex, and name some complications that can arise. But we'll say it's more technical, so you still have to roll the check.
Okay, I will go ahead and go for the history one since I'm history buff right now.
Cool.
Get it? I'm buff at history right now.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
You hear Lyre groan from across the hall.
I'll be here all day.
Hey, that'd be your whole performance thing. You could just tell bad puns to the thing.
Ever D&D Beyond, fine D&D Beyond. I'll use a different app. My phone is so inconsistent. It'll like freeze up and it'll just have a die on the screen for like 8 years. All right.
Your phone will die?
No. Oh. No, like, you know how you can do D&D Beyond on your phone and you can roll by clicking like the skill? It'll just like, it'll just be there. What?
What is happening?
Continue, never mind.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay, so.
I got you, Addison, though. That was good.
So I rolled a 19 on the die, which makes my roll a 33.
Oh my
33.
god.
All right. What do you write on the page? With the 33, I mean, you could give the whole genealogy of all creatures in order of creation, like, land and sea.
Yeah, I'm gonna write like not a long thing, but a sort of like just a very technical. It's like some scholars say, kind of thing, but they're wrong because my own research has shown that how historians like talk shit about each other in the footnotes. I add a footnote that's like specifically like Sufflexus is a fool and believes otherwise, but
Wow.
But,
okay. I'm gonna say you do that, and it takes a long time to think about it. You can tell the machine's like, it is very hard to verify the accuracy of these things.
According to all the things I've read, it says otherwise, but wait a minute, what he's saying makes sense.
You see a couple books from off the shelf open up autonomously, and like some scanners go over them. Yeah, I'm gonna say you see a very large success come of that. You see a lot of things change throughout. Like on the machine, you see several chunks of armor fall off of it.
Skill empowerment is his best skill.
That is wildly cool. Now it is up to the intellect thing. This time it tries to trick you a little bit, and you see some flashing from the thing, and then you hear a loud siren sound go beep, beep, off twice in the room, and I need you guys to make intelligence saves again.
I went before the intelligence thing last time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Cool.
Sorry.
I just don't want to get another negative penalty if I fail again.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I missed that.
No, it's all good. We're going to take that Arcana check.
Okay.
Thanks.
Oh, baby. So that would have been a 27. It's a 25.
Wow, nice. That passes. What answer do you write down on there?
Oh, there must have been physical contact. One party must have orgasmed. And complication that can come from this is a plague of warlocks.
Again, opens the book and scans just because, I guess technically, but you'll find out more about that once you pass these trials. Yeah, that is a success.
Great.
Wow, you see another chunk of armor shove off of this thing. Wow. Okay, so now that you're done, that check goes off, intelligence saves.
I rolled a 2, and so I got an 11.
The blaring sound you hear twice actually has a bunch of hidden messages in it. Scrambles your brain a little bit. -2 to intellect checks.
16?
Unfortunately, that won't save because these checks aren't getting easier with time, like the monster is. Okay, now it's the monster's turn. It rights itself, and you see a bunch of magic coursing through it. And again, it's going to take 2 shots. Well, actually, according to the rules I set up, it can't do that. So I'm going to honor that, and it's only going to take 1, and that's going to be at Jace again.
I would like to point out, it is attacking me with a ranged attack within 5 feet. It should have disadvantage on any ranged attack within that distance.
I will honor it.
Thank you.
It's still got a... Well, now that it has so many minuses to hit, it's still got a 19 to hit.
My AC currently is 20.
Wow. Bullet deflects off of your glistening armor.
Can I? So
yeah.
The reason it's 20 is because I have the dual wielder feat, which gives me plus I have 2 or whenever I'm dual wielding. So what I want it to be is I have my flaming swords out. It tries to shoot at me, and I just stick out my sword and deflect the bullet with the blade into the ground behind me. Kind of like Matt. Well, none of you would get that. Never mind.
Well, time slows down. The bullet leaves the gun. You pull your blade up, and like perfect little deflection angle, it goes pink, pink, up, and then shoots off the ceiling. Okay, now into the heart. The mouth opens and kind of starts saying things, like really slowly, just going blah, 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 blah. But it's like a psychic effect, and you feel like it's saying, I want a commitment. Why don't you like me? I've got feelings too. And I need you and Karina to roll another charisma saving throw.
That will be a 17.
That will actually fail this time. But I want to remind you, Lyre, too, that because of your Lyre, because of your magical Lyre, you can never get a low roll on the die that's lower than 15.
Okay.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that before, but remember that in the future. We established that before. Now it's back to Phil's turn.
Yep. Getting ready for my 4 attacks. First attack is 25.
That hits.
Awesome.
That die sounds so heavy.
It is.
It's
So
metal.
it's a metal die, so literally the die was cast at some
Yeah.
point.
That
Yeah.
Capital.
Was
slashing and 6 fire.
Say that again.
Huh?
Say that again. Give me the total.
8 slashing, 6 fire.
Okay. You just so you know too, as you're cutting it, all of its protective armor has fallen off. You're cutting into its metallic center now.
Okay. Once again, remember I am trying to disable its cannons.
Yes, you've gotten the first one.
I've gotten the first cannon.
Yes, you've gotten
It
the
is
first cannon
fully
now.
disabled.
Just now. Yes.
Okay.
It still has
Second
one.
arm. That second strike will be a 30 again. I keep forgetting
That hits.
19 plus 11 is 30 and not 21 or not 31. Anyway, that'll be again 8 slashing and 6 fire. Third attack will be a 27.
That hits.
Okay. That'll be, wow. That's very close to max damage. It is 1 away. That makes
How
me
much is
mad.
that?
That'll be, 12 slashing and 12 fire.
Okay.
And then the last attack is only 18 hit. Does that hit?
An 18.
Mm-hmm.
That does not hit.
Okay.
You glance
Have
off the
I
sword.
dismantled the first or the second cannon?
Let me double check real quick.
Not dismantled, but disabled.
You have not quite.
I action surge.
Okay.
I don't want this cannon firing at my friend anymore. Or me, for that matter. First attack against it will be a 28.
That hits.
Oh. 6 slashing and 10 fire.
Okay. Nope. Unfortunately, doesn't quite do it.
I still have 2 more attacks. I action surge.
Hey, let's get the pace up.
Sorry.
I mean, this thing's a hunk of metal. I'd be making it more dramatic, but I mean,
28 with the
that
second hit.
hits.
That'll be 12 slashing and 3 fire. And the final attack is a 23 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. And that'll be 6 slashing and 8 fire.
Wow. It just barely passed it. So that was literally the 1 damage you needed. You see that the second gun is disabled. It's still functioning and standing, but it doesn't seem to have a way to attack you right now.
Okay. I'm going to run back over to Corvus. And it does not get an attack of opportunity because of my mobile feat.
Oh, that's right. Cool.
And that is my turn.
Okay. Awesome. Now it's Karina's turn. She has a -2 or -4 to everything right now. She's going to try and talk about some stuff. She's gotten a little self-absorbed. She was very happy with her story, but now she's kind of like droning on and on and on about it. And, she only got like a 6 on the die. So she's a little bit too in the story. Wow. Mobile feet for that. No, that deserves to be on the recording. He got his mobile feet from his mobile feet.
I honestly was thinking, aren't all feet mobile? And I was like, somebody will come punch me.
You're welcome.
Okay,
He speaks
so
for us all.
Karina doesn't manage to get another check in, but now we're back up to Corvus, who can roll another save from being stunned.
I'm still stunned then?
It's a full 10 rounds, but you can save every time.
Gosh, that's ridiculous. Okay, well, here goes something. And that is a 16.
That passes. You managed to steal yourself and get figured out. I'm going to say because it's so long, we'll put that at the start of the turn, so you can take a turn now that you've woken up.
Beautiful. All right. I'm up. I'm moving. I'm going to hit the machine. And that's a 14 on the dice, so that's a math. 22.
22, that hits. There's all these gashes and everything. It's really easy to get your hands in there and find important things.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that's going to do 12 bludgeoning.
Nice.
There. Second attack is an 18 on the dice, so that's going to hit. And that's going to do 11 bludgeoning.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to use a Fury of Blows again.
Awesome. Smack into it.
That's a natural 20, folks.
Hey!
Beautiful, which is also great because I was going to do this anyway, but the ability doesn't specify. But I'm going to use my Hands of Harm with this one, which is going to do, because of the nat 20, an extra 2d8 necrotic damage.
I'm worried I put it into my thing wrong, but it was like 12 and then
11.
13? And
12 and then 11. Yeah.
Okay, and now we're doing this Hands of Harm, Fury of Blows.
Yeah, so the actual
work on something that's a construct?
It just,
what?
When you hit the creature, it deals necrotic damage. So
it's necrotic?
So, I don't know. Maybe it has an resistance.
I'll let you know.
I don't know. In any case, so the physical damage is going to be 16, and then the Hands of Harm, it's not going to be as much as I wanted, but that's going to do it. And it's, as it hits, it's going to pour another 10 necrotic damage into that.
10 necrotic damage. Awesome. So as you do this, you see that the magic powering this thing is a relic. And by definition in this world, necrotic energy is of the abyss. You see that energy causes sparks to fly off of the machinery, and you realize that this thing is vulnerable to necrotic damage.
Do more of that.
Unfortunately, that's a once per turn thing. So
I'd say that sounds like necrotic magic interacting with Relin magic.
Are we just yelling at each other from across the rooms?
You guys have got this pretty far under control. You guys are basically just like having a laugh at this now.
My gosh. I'm an idiot.
What'd you do?
I have deflect missiles, and I could have used that to take less damage from the thing when I got shot by it.
The things we learn. The things we learn.
I forgot about that, man. See, this is why I've never played a monk, because they have so much crap going on in their sheets.
I feel that.
That's
a lot.
That's a 23 to hit that time. This time around.
That hits.
then that's going to do 5 more bludgeoning.
5 more damage? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is starting to look like a Star Wars droid instead of like a very, very nice, like, military grade, you know, what's the word? Roman droid. This thing's starting to look like a crappy, beat up, like, you know, thing. Yeah, go on.
Well, actually, I think that's my turn.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And I'll stay next, but I'm not moving away.
That brings us back to Lyre.
Awesome. I'm going to tell a joke. And I actually have one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, tell this joke.
I prepared one for the group too, so. So first, as a bonus action, I'm going to give Bardic Inspiration to Karina, which is just a 1d10 added to her roll.
Nice.
So I'm tired of her failing these checks. If you haven't figured that out yet, she can have that as a save or on a check.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm rolling performance now.
Performance.
And that will be a 24 performance.
Ooh.
Give me the joke.
Alrighty. There lived a king who had a beautiful wife. On an important occasion, he had to leave his kingdom to meet another king. Since his wife was young and beautiful, he was worried that she may cheat on him with someone in his palace. So before leaving the kingdom, he slathered poison on his wife's tits. The king returned after a couple weeks and was shocked that all the men except one of his servants had passed away due to poisoning. The king was furious with his wife, but was very pleased with that servant. He wanted to give the servant something special. King, you're probably the most loyal person in my kingdom. I can't even trust my own wife, but I can trust you, and ask whatever you want and it shall be yours. And so the servant says, can I suck your cock?
I love how it's just like a perverted weird, like, the face is like, looks deeper and deeper, and the eyes get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's like, in anticipation. And then as you deliver the punchline, it's like, eyebrows cock. Then it laughs a little bit. And then you see one last burst of magic go over, and the robot explodes on the ground. Fully destroyed.
Oh my gosh, that's what kills it.
The things open up, the doors open up, you guys are in, and you have proven the world is ready for this knowledge through an extended joke with a queen with poison on her tits and sucking the king's dick. Wow! What proof of the world being ready. Unbelievable. These are all very high skill checks.
After a few minutes pass by, Jace just says, "Oh, because he's gay. I get
it." Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh! The door opens. You guys are able to enter this tomb. It's tradition for most bodies of nobles to be, burned up, like turned into, sort of cremated. So it's just this very bare room, and it's just this, urn on top of a very large gold-leafed book.
I pick up the book.
That looks like the book.
The urn falls over and spills. I'm just kidding.
Mage hand, I catch the urn.
You catch the urn, pick the urn up. Now this is going to be a bit of a lore dump. But this book is exclusively an Aurelian, like glyphs and sigils. The only person that can read this in depth is right now in this room is Sir Emory and Karina. But Karina can only read it out loud.
Not me.
This is magic stuff, man. This is like painting tank language. This is more in depth.
Can I comprehend languages?
Yeah, I'm going to say you can comprehend languages, but Sir Emory will be able to kind of choose what he clarifies, because he'll have like the full information.
Okay, I'm
Clarify everything.
just gonna give the book to Sir Emory because clearly, you need to be able to speak the language. This is like putting it through Google Translate.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, you can still do that and get a lot of information. I kind of want to reward all that work we've been putting into him being, very good at this. This is going to be an info dump. So I'm just going to be really clear with you guys. If you guys want the clarifications on stuff, let me know. Right in the beginning, it's a letter to Jace. And it's first off an apology from her for giving him those magical items. It says that the magical items have actually been holding him back and restraining his power from going the next step, which it explains later on. And that those magical items are both weapons as well as designed to restrain him until he chooses with full knowledge to make the next step. The first thing is what it means to be undying. And in the first part of this book, to be undying is to reach level 20. Effectively, the feature of Ageless Body is you cannot die. Your body and your spirit will never be separated ever again by normal means, and you're immortal. And so by getting Jace those items, she's made it so that he can't hit level 20 until those items are either destroyed or removed from him permanently, which they would have to be destroyed or dispelled. So the armor, the swords, and the circlet. Now it says, and it's kind of strange in this, Jace, it says you can't move, air quotes, normally into the afterlife. Because typically when bodies die, their spirits leave their bodies and they travel to the afterlife through these planes that Qiao has been seeing. And then it says that the other effect is you can be affected by this magical designation that she describes placation, that once you've become undying, there's a special magical effect that doesn't affect mortal creatures called placation. And this is what the daggers, you assume, do, as he's reading this out. Now, the gods are about 1 million years old. This world is about 1 million years old, it goes into. And it comes up very honestly and says, the gods are no more than mortals who reached level 20 and became immortal. However, because they are so powerful, they were able to take on or came to this realm with what's called the mantles. And when the world is created, these are created as the mantle of the sky, mantle of the depths, mantle of the land, and mantle of the sea. And these mantles imbued those people with said power. So the mantle of the sky and the mantle of the depths gave them the power far beyond the rest. And really, the mantle of the ocean and the land were just meant to separate the two forces. But in addition to that, they were given creative power. Effectively, they could create life in a more meaningful way than Aurelian could. They could create other creatures that also had this creative power. Now, any questions on some of that yet?
Yes. What were the what did the mantles of the land, sky and the depths do? If the ocean and land separated and created?
Yes. So ocean and land were created to separate those two forces. They are kind of the ever-affixed positions of good and evil and kind of infinite sources of power. They're like, the sun and the moon. They're the real helix of power. If, yin yang, they're the big chunks of black and white, while the little dots are earth and ocean.
Awesome. I also want to say I am paying attention, even though I'm looking up here. I have a second big monitor up there, so I'm
totally
typing my
fine.
notes
You're
up
totally
there.
fine.
Yeah.
This is all lore dump. Now, it goes into another section where it talks about why Aurelian died, because she was able to become immortal for a very long time. And she was smart enough to have reached level 20 and have become an immortal queen of the world. She chose not to because she knew that she needed to get Aurelian to leave and to willfully die. And so rather than take that 20th level, she maintained her place at level 19 and allowed herself to naturally die. This was 1,500 years ago, around the same time that Aurelin disappeared. And she explains that she could not convince her husband at the time, Aurelian, to take the journey. And then it goes on to explain what that is. So, in Relinquary, in the heart of Relinquary, it describes a temple is a good word, but it's considered the origin place of life. And it's this room that only creatures who are undying can enter and live. If you enter it and you're mortal, you'll die immediately. And in this room, there is a well. There is a tower going infinitely up and infinitely down with a golden chain affixed in the center of it. And in this room, there are cages, these golden cages, and it has graphics of them. You recognize this immediately as the cage that Pith was put into, that once put onto the chain would physically transport an undying creature to the afterlife, as opposed to it dying and its spirit being separated and that spirit traveling through the plane. It would physically transport the entire being to whatever this afterlife was, effectively this infinite journey. And this is what you realize Pith was being sent on when she was put into this cage and sent into the ocean. And that, as far as, and then the book says, as well as, in all my interviews of Salamel and Tauren and Aurelian, that is the only way that an undying individual can die, can move on to the next life. And Aurelian just didn't want to do that. She considered that she had already kind of explored the depths of this world and wanted to move on to the next thing. And this thing kind of reads like a textbook and a journal at the same time. It's a very intimate book. Another thing it says is that the daggers that she has and the daggers that she gave to Jace are also made in that same place with the cage and are intended to be able to placate an undying individual and force them into a cage if they were not willing to go willingly. And so the point of those daggers, as she explains it, is to basically stop angry, undying people that are unable to die from being able to resist, so they can be put into the cage and then sent into the afterlife. Let me see. Another thing she says is this place is critical to the maintenance of the world. And so there are two conditions that she lays out that she knows will cause the world to end. And one, if there is no intelligent, soul-filled life on the world anymore, if the world is just a desolate plain, it will end. And two, if there is no one eligible to take on the mantle. And it goes into the eligibility of these mantles. And they involve these three things. First, you have to be level 20, not because that's an expectation of the mantle, but because you can't go into the place where you receive the mantle unless you're level 20 without dying. Second, you have to be either endowed with the mantle's power already by the previous owner of the mantle, or be direct family of the mantle owner. And so you have to be level 20, and you have to have either a blessing of or a familial connection to the previous mantle holder in order to receive this mantle and accumulate this power. The last section that it gets into is all about nature of the world as an agreement. And it says that in this place, there is a stage whereupon once all of the people eligible for the mantles are accumulated, they can alter the rules of reality. They can negotiate who has what power and for what reason and what mantle is what.
Sorry, could you say that last sentence, like that last paragraph again? I'm sorry, I'm taking notes and got lost.
No, you're good. So in that place, there is a stage wherein if those people enter in And there are all the people that fulfill the requirements to be eligible for each of the mantles, and each of the mantles are represented. They can rewrite basically the laws of nature. They can, through agreement, come to decisions about what the world is. You know, they can, you get this mantle, you get this, I get this. One caveat it says, and it says it multiple times in many different ways to make it super clear, this is not a democratic process. This is not a agreement of, you know, concessions and stuff like that. It has to be a 100% agreement between all parties that represent the mantle. And so if someone were to go on there and say, no, this rule I want to change, it wouldn't come to fruition. The order would stay the same as it was. It has to be a full agreement between all parties that are there. And if not, then that undying dissident would have to be removed with the daggers of placation. And it says that the gods tried many times to like reorganize the stars and come to fruition, and Pith, for the entire 1,000,000 years, refused to concede even an inch of power. And that's been what's kind of forced the world into the place that it is.
Do the mantles bring any sort of like, I guess, is it still the same person? Or if, say, you take on this mantle of power, is there some level of like a personality sort of change that comes with that is kind of like, I don't know, maybe the mantle itself imbues kind of a certain sense of purpose or sort of thing like that?
Yeah, so and this is kind of, you know, higher, you know, tier thinking on this. Nobody kind of knows, because the original mantle holders are the original gods, and there have never been other gods. And so the mantle holders don't seem to have their personalities affected by it outside of just having more power than normal. And, you know, power corrupts indefinitely, you know, that kind of stuff. So it seems to maintain their selfness. It seems to not impinge on their individuality. But we don't know. It's never been transferred, so it's impossible to know. It doesn't seem to be the case, though, because they can endow their powers on other people without overshadowing their personality, like warlocks or other creatures. I have two kind of realizations that will either have come to Sir Emory or other people as they're thinking through this that I want to offer up if you guys don't want to talk about it and kind of think about what this means for the world in general.
We could.
So, Pith, it feels like, is trying to create other individuals to whom perhaps she could pass on either her full power or some portion of that ability.
That's clever as hell.
But some sort of, with what I'm thinking and what I already know of the goddess, someone that is beholden to her in some way. She's corrupted an entire bloodline and everyone who has had any sort of relation with them, and wants to create a puppet figure through whom she can gain more power.
Wait.
My conclusion.
Wait. Okay. Family bloodline. Who's other big god?
Aurelian.
Okay. She's trying to make someone who can yoink his seat. She's not trying to get her seat to give it to someone else. It seems like she's trying to get someone who's both level 20 by power boosting them and has a familial connection to Errol, which would make them
eligible for his mantle.
And if they took his seat, then she would have the big seats, and it would just be, I don't know, I guess it has to be unanimous.
Not if he can continue somehow taking seats.
Yeah.
Another thing you realize, Qiao, as you're talking through this, of all the people in the room, currently, you're the only one eligible by birth for 2 seats.
I am? Oh.
Because you are a child of Tauren and Salmo.
Oh.
Just as a quick question,
Mm-hmm.
Johann is eligible for a couple of those seats as well, right?
Yes, he would be eligible for the seat of Tauren and the seat of Pith until he becomes level 20. And so too would Karina once she became level 20.
Oh. So.
Dipper, come here.
Interesting. What does oh my
So
gosh,
could
Jace
Lyre
qualify
get the
for?
seat of Pith?
What?
Could Lyre get the seat of Pith?
She could.
So here's what I understand. I understand that we are brought together. This seems unnatural to me, that we are all here.
I was
Sitting.
put into that tomb to fulfill a certain destiny, one that I was quite literally created for. I am the only one of my mold.
And
So-
I believe the only one in this room who would qualify for the seat of Ellen.
Yes.
So, I'm going to say, this is hard. That wouldn't be possible unless you had been endowed by Errol, because Errol and Pith don't have creative powers like Tauren and Salamel. You would have been created
I was
to
created by
replace
Tauren.
Tauren.
Yeah. So I'll say,
So-
no, it was Tauren that created me.
Wait, who was Guy in Cage with Pith?
That was
Greenwater.
Finnegan Greenwater, the parent of both but Lyre, great-grandparent of Lyre, and many other people, warlocks all across the world.
Okay, so
Direct father of Johann.
the weird shaped child has a claim to her seat and also
The seat of
somebody
Tauren.
else and the seat of
Or
Tauren. Okay.
Yeah, so technically the rules are very vague. Like if some Ubermensch was both endowed with Errol's power and what is it?
Pith.
And Pith and was a child of both this Aurelian Salamel and Tauren, they could just decide for themselves because they technically were eligible for all of the mantles as long as they were level 20. But
How does
the thing is,
Oh, how does one go about claiming one of the? Sorry, I don't want to just
yeah,
go
of
on
course.
with what you were saying.
No. And so if you want to claim the mantle, you just have to go to that place in Realm Query and claim it.
Does that remove it from the god?
I mean, if they're not on this realm. And according to this book, Aurelian is no longer in this realm. Aurelian has been gone for 1,500 years.
All of
Pith
them
has
have
been
except for
gone
Pith, yeah.
4.
This-
But for some reason, Pith isn't gone. And there was earthquakes that shook the earth as her influence spread.
This is the most important thing that will ever be done.
You guys want to? Can I throw you some trivia because I think it's interesting?
Yeah.
The world almost ended when Johann died 4 years ago, because when he failed 2 of those death saves, succeeded on 2 of those saves, and his wife, who was dead behind him, were both dead.
Oh,
There would have been no one eligible on Earth to have the mantle of the Abyss. And so when he passed that death save, and both him and her were alive at the same time for those 4 years, they were the only 2 people alive that were keeping the world in existence. But
Wild.
if what Sir Emory is probably thinking right now is true, then the family line of Aurelians should be dead as well, because the last one just died in Old Wessex. But I'm sure he's already been thinking about why that isn't the case.
Yes.
So,
Then
you know,
So, we find this place. We do what?
we need someone eligible for Aurelian's seat. If we are to fill it so that Pith can't.
You also have to get rid of Pith first.
We have to stop Pith.
That's fair, but if you have someone who's basically a god on par with her, then that's much less of an issue.
Fair.
I'm
Or
going
we
to say,
someone like
as you guys-
myself who can take Torrens'
Mhm.
mantle.
I'm going to say, keep going, sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
As you're looking through the book, you kind of go more into the information about these cages. These cages take the immortal being on about a 10-year journey. That's what's estimated in the book to the afterlife. Pith was traveling for about 4, and you know that they are effectively magical lockboxes. Like more than a demi-plane, they fully separate the being from the material plane and the magical plane. And so for intents and purposes, Pith is dead and gone. So the only way that she could infuse her a power on the world would be through something that was outside of the cage, which...
Like a child.
Like a deformed baby.
That she...
Johan.
Johan is not a deformed baby.
Yet.
It is not
Arguable.
Yet.
Okay.
He's outside of the cage. I didn't really mean in the deformed baby sense.
I'm going to say, I think I could sit for either Torin or I'm sorry, how do I pronounce
Torin
the
or
other one?
Salamel.
Or Salamel. I
Or
could do
both.
both.
Is the telepathy thing still going on?
Yeah. Well, if this has been less than an hour since we left the ship. If not, then no.
I mean, I'm fine if you guys are able to. You have no reason to believe that Evelyn is here. You guys scared her off. You guys got rid of the scrying orb. I mean, you can do some more searching, but
Well,
I mean,
if so, I'm going to say just individually to him and almost Pith.
what was
Perhaps. Just to
Oh.
Qiao and almost Pith, perhaps, based on
Um,
what you told me.
I don't think that I received a blessing that day.
Like I said, almost. But it sounds like that was practically what your parents had planned.
Perhaps. It seems as though, well, I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
say this seems to be substantially deeper an understanding of the world than anyone else has. This
That's
is
fair.
novel information for anyone who isn't saying. So he was probably only ever intended to help them capture Pith and send her to the depths. They probably never even knew that it was even possible for the mantles to pass hands. And I want to stress too, in the book, the thing about the mantles is like, it's not a set construct. It's a certain delineation of power that's been established. Can you guys hear me? Oh, gosh.
Don't worry, we can share it.
He's back.
There we go. Now I'm
Hey,
back.
welcome
The
back.
last thing I heard was, don't worry, we can share. And I was like, now you're getting it.
What?
We can share what?
I don't think
You can
anybody
share
said
warlock
that.
levels whenever you want.
No-
If
nobody
anybody
said
wants
that.
access to that.
Nobody said that.
Oh, I thought Lyre said that.
No, we were talking
No.
about the picture of all of us making the same face as you since you were frozen.
Dang.
Sorry.
I shared it to the group chat.
Rude.
So say we do this.
This one's really cute. I'm glad we did
Oh,
this.
he froze too.
I'm back.
No,
I'm back.
no, he's still there.
Oh,
I'm here. I'm here.
This is a lot.
I think our immediate wave of warlocks,
That is a wet ass
as you
sea.
said.
She's
Hmm.
Also,
I can hear
Lyre.
you guys. What is happening? Can you
I
guys
don't-
hear me?
yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Phil was like mid-sentence and then he stopped.
Is there anything in the book that mentions any way to stop someone who is
Hmm.
undying from,
Yes.
well, being, if they are forcibly sent away, does it say anything about a way to prevent them from, well, being killed, essentially?
Prevent them from being killed? Oh, you mean
Like
So
to
it
get
doesn't-
them out of a cage or stop the cage from going or something like that?
the page just has a very clear thing that's like the same material that the daggers are made is what the cages are made of, and they're very clearly a key to the cages. And it seems like the cages can be unlocked as easy as they can be locked.
Interesting.
I know this is a lot. You guys probably have a ton of questions. I just wanted to really give you this bombshell about kind of the nature of the world and what some of these people might be looking into doing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my
I think
internet.
our
And
first
probably
priority
the
should be taking care of all these warlocks. Somehow, would anybody know of how that might be done?
I mean,
If we could somehow stake Pit. Okay, so question. Is the cage she's stuck in,
Mhm.
that is in the room that
That is
20
in the well.
the well. Okay.
And
If
it is
we-
currently working its way out of the well, or that could be her only guess, and that her son is slowly trying to pull her out of the well.
if we could claim the mantles, we could just stop the plague.
If we could claim the mantles, we could change everything.
Oh my god. That sounds like
This is
so
a
much
little too
work.
much for my blood.
No, hear me out.
Corvus
Look,
and Lyre go, oh, that sounds awful.
Sir Emery
mean-
was like, I had my
mean,
mind
it's-
on
it's-
becoming king, but becoming god is just as good.
Emory,
I mean,
does it have anything in there about the destruction of the mantles? Can they be destroyed?
Can they be destroyed?
The
I
thing
wonder
is,
if you were to claim the mantles, if you could, as part of the creation, or maybe not.
So yeah, I mean, I wanted to make this really clear, so I'm glad you're asking this question. There's not a way to destroy them without accepting them. But after they've been accepted, you can change how power is distributed. You can change the nature of the designations. You can control anything about the nature of the world. And so if you wanted to make it dispersed among every single person on Earth, you could do that. If you wanted it to be only one person, or as long as all the people who are representing the mantles at the terms agreed to the new formation of power, it would come to truth.
I believe no one should have this kind of power.
No gods, no masters.
Mm.
How does Qiao feel about that?
No mortal should be given the choice, or should be given the opportunity to decide the fate of all existence.
well, that's just the point. You can't be mortal to decide it. You have to become immortal before you can.
Oh,
and there's
okay.
nothing there's nothing that says we couldn't create something else that could have power.
All of this is There's a lot of philosophy. We have to do all this first. Let's deal with the problem directly ahead of us.
I'm going to say, too, technically, Jace isn't eligible right now because he's level 19.
Mm-hmm.
If he were to destroy his magic items, then the limiters that were placed on him, because he's a freak of nature who's probably just going to become level 20 on his own naturally, would be removed and he would become undying. He's a statistical anomaly.
I'm quite fond of my things, for now. I feel I'm not done with them yet.
Well, you can't ascend until you can't claim the mantle until we've reached the Reliquary anyway.
Of course.
So are we going to Reliquary then?
Seems to be the place, either Reliquary or Shigwa. Do you want to kill some warlocks, or do you want to set about getting Jace a mantle?
It seems as though there's so many warlocks in Shigwa. I mean, we're talking almost everyone. It was an orgy every day there. I don't know if we have the time to do that. Although it also occurs to me that I can't conceive of all of us becoming powerful enough to do this in the time we have, I think.
Not naturally.
Unless there's some way that this book explains to become more powerful, that would leave us in a bad... other than accepting Pith's blessing, which seems like a bad idea. And I don't think it's a good idea at all. Other than that, I don't know.
Karina, I'm just going to offer this as kind of like the end of our session. Because I agree, Qiao. I don't know. But I do know there's about 15 levels of Warlock on our boat right now. That would make that journey to being strong enough to do this quite fast. And time is of the essence. I think I'm going to leave that at the end of the session. Is there anything anybody wants to say before we close off here?
I think we're all good.
Okay, then I'll stop the